police detained 18-year-old boy for allegedly defiling 3-year-old in Delta State. Now, Delta State Police Command has confirmed the detention of an 18-year-old boy, Oghenetejiri Kosini, accused of molesting his landlady's 2-year-old daughter in Okpe local government area, Delta State. The incident reportedly occurred on 12 December 2024 when the child's mother, who owns the compound, was busy outside. The suspect allegedly entered the house and committed the act. However, controversy surrounds the case after allegations surfaced that the suspect was released on Christmas Eve without formal charges. Delta-based human rights activist Comrade Israel Joe criticized the handling of the case in a Facebook post on 6th of January 2025, pardon me, please. He accused the Division Police Officer DPO and Investigating Police Officer IPO at Ororekpo of a cover-up and poor investigation. Joe alleged that the IPO begged the victim's mother to settle the matter rather than pursue justice. He claimed the IPO refused to provide the medical checkup form and relied solely on the suspect's confessional statements, disregarding proper investigative procedures. Joe further urged the police to rearrest the suspect and transfer the case to the Delta State Criminal Investigation and Intelligence Department (CIID) for thorough investigation and prosecution. Responding to the allegations, Delta State Police Public Relations Officer Bright Edafe told reporters on Wednesday that the suspect was currently in custody, stating the suspect is in custody, please. Now, the case has equally drawn significant public attention, which calls for justice and proper legal proceedings to ensure accountability and protection for the victim. Mr. Kolawole, I think on our last discourse, we had the situation with, a rape victim similar to this one. What are your thoughts on this story?
Again, I'm still going to, probably say a few things that I said last time when we had this similar discussion. Like I stated then, I said something about this being a recurrent, phenomenon in our society nowadays. And I feel like we need to handle this differently. It's becoming like a pandemic in this part of the world, where you find out that there are rape cases almost every day, right? Now, I ask myself this question: why do this keep happening? There has to be some sort of point. There has to be a point where this starts. This is just an 18-year-old boy. He's just becoming an adult, right? And for some reason, he had sexual urges and decided or felt taking it out on a 3-year-old is the best way to go about it. I would never understand how it plays out psychologically, because it makes no sense to me. Now, in the story, I mentioned something about the case, the IPO. I don't know if it's a fact, but if it's in the story, it's probably something going around.
Right.
So, saying this should be settled out of the police station, which shouldn't be, right? The 3-year-old has been molested, for crying out loud. This is something that can never be taken back. We don't know how this would affect the girl. You are saying it should be settled out of, the police station. It makes no sense. This should be handled very seriously. Last time I said something about, taking drastic actions, like, cutting off some part of. It has gotten to that level. At point, such cases like this should be followed up properly.
Well, what do you mean cutting off? What are we cutting off?
In China, for example, I don't know if it's still ongoing, they do cut off the manhoods of rapists.
Are we talking about castration?
Yes, the reasonable does. Once it's proven, they are being castrated. Some might say it's overboard, but I believe it got to an extent where this is in the kid's house, for crying out loud. The woman just went out to probably attend to something. It's not like you said maybe we are talking about maybe the kid was outside, or she sent her to buy something. That's not an excuse now. She was in her house. The small girl was in her mom's house,
and that happened.
If you look at it, it's no longer funny anymore. It's no longer a small matter.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kolawole. Thank you so much for your input on that one. Mr. Handover to God. Mr. Kolawole has, basically broken the entire table with the castration. While I want to get your views as regards, if that is a viable plan to reduce this, I also want to ask you, what are your thoughts as regard, he rightly mentioned that rape cases are on the rise. Now, I decided by myself to do a little research, right? Do you think that the views of what people see is now a factor for the increase in rape? And I want to talk about this from the angle of, I'm talking about adverts. You see an advert for a soap brand, there is a woman, looking a certain way. You see an advert for a singlet shirt, there is a man looking a certain way. Now, for most brands, sex appeal has been something that has been used to sell the idea of their business, and it's made it, more receiving of the public. Do you think such things as regards to adverts and media has increased the urge for people to want to have coitus often as much as having it with 3-year-old children?
It's not even with, to an extent, because each time you turn up your phone internet, and maybe you are trying to view a particular, doing something different, before you know, things that are not supposed to pop up. And in this generation where we discover that children that is of age are the majority of them are the ones using bigger phones and all the rest. So and they see things that are not taught by their parents on the social media. But even with that, there's not enough reasons for a child of 18 years, somebody of 18 years to abuse. I'm just trying to imagine how old the 3-year-old child could look like. That somebody has. That's
a little baby that can pick up a snake and think it's a friend.
Somebody that is up to 18 years.
Who should be more knowledgeable.
That is well knowledgeable, not more. Is well knowledgeable based on the society we are.
Right.
What are the things you think they don't know, but they know better than you, because they are always on the internet.
Did you
one thing or the other?
Right.
And so the internet itself has contributed so much on this incident. But to me, there was last year we talked about penalty for rapists.
Right. Do you think castration should be, be on the table as regards when we talk about, the Minister of Women Affairs did talk about the capital punishment?
Yes, life imprisonment.
She actually is vying for the capital punishments.
To me, based on this incident that has been occurring on every blessed day.
Right.
Today you hear a man of 45 years abusing a child of 12 years. And it becomes like my colleague just said, it's like a pandemic in this current present age, that people no longer feel that this is what happened to this person that carries this kind of action. If I involve myself, what will be so they don't even care. All they want is that satisfaction at that moment. So to me, I think the government need to carry out drastic decisions on these issues. Anybody that involve itself like this, like what the police just did, the IPO. The IPO they should look into it very well, because you are not supposed to discharge such a person. And
what are your thoughts as regards him saying settle out of court? Since
it should not be settled out of court, because the person involved, the child involved, the health of that child is what they should be looking into. So are they be his food a little bit older persons? Like the age of 10, people of 10.
Even 10, rape is rape.
I'm just saying.
We've had this conversation before. Rape is rape, even if she's 40.
I'm not saying it compared to a child of 3 years. Molesting a child of 3 years. Whatever gives you that urge to do that, I think you should be reminded somewhere, so that your brain, the brain of that person, need to be reset. That's the only way. Because if you don't do that, the next person, we don't know how many persons, how many of their groups, how many of their kinds that are still playing the same thing. So the best way is to let the law have its way.
Mr. Kolawole, real quick, we're almost rounding up on the show. I want to get your thoughts as regards what parents can do to make things different as regards this. An 18-year-old boy is a child of somebody, right? What should parents do so that we don't have such occurrences?
All right, thank you for that question. And I'll just touch on something Mr. Andover said. Just like when it stated that there should be drastic actions, they're all saying the same thing, right? Because if there are drastic actions in place, when you see, it's like you know that this thing is wrong. When you know that if I do this, I'm going to get this punishment, I believe it will reduce, right? And when we talk about parents, I think parents should be much more concerned, much more active when it comes to digital devices with their kids.
Right.
Just like Leo said, these things pop up. So we should always try to, I dabble in tech a lot. Should install apps that would help us track what our kids are watching.
Right.
You know, when they are trying to access some sites, it notifies you and you can take action. You should also watch the amount of time they spend on it. A few hours is enough.
Right.
And get right studying something.
Thank
else.
you.